I know people are tired, but this is what I will say. Online learning is not the problem, and the pandemic is not the problem. These issues existed in classrooms across America every day for at least as long as I have been around. And they're not going to go away if we put them out of sight and start dropping our kids off at school. Let me provide a disclaimer. There are those of you who have been following me for quite some time, and you're probably going to be slightly surprised at some of the things I'm going to say during this video, but this is my effort to be as authentic as I possibly can. So this video is going to be different than some of the other videos on this channel thus far, but I can't promise you that you won't see me in this space again, because it's important for me to impact the world around me with the work that I do, and to make sure that authenticity plays a part in how I do what I do. So let's get to the next video. This video is the story of a student, teacher, parent experience in California. And the reason I say that is because California is not considered the Deep South. It's not considered a part of the country that's known for racist tendencies or the rebel flag or any of those other things that we like to associate with racism or any other sort of bias. But here we are.
Year-old boy who was caught up in all of this. I'm told that before this all started, this student was an honor student, and then the pandemic hit, and that's when students were stopped being allowed to come here to this school in Palmdale. This is Desert Willow Middle School. That's when he started having problems, apparently, connecting his laptop for remote learning. His mother reached out to one of his teachers for help during a Zoom meeting. When it was over, the teacher apparently forgot to disconnect, and this is what was heard.
These parents took out pieces of it. They're black. He's black. They're a black family. Your son has learned to lie to everybody and make excuses. To be entitled. Because you taught him to make excuses that nothing is his fault. This is what black people do. This is what black people do. White people do it too, but black people do it way more.
That was science teacher Kimberly Newman back in January. We understand she resigned from the school a few days later, but now the mother of that 12-year-old boy, Keturah Stokes, has filed a claim against the Palmdale School District, saying this racist rant is outrageous and heartbreaking, and it shows how students of color are unfairly treated by the educational system. The attorney representing the family says the mom in this case is a single mom of two, and like so many, she has struggled during the pandemic to keep her kids learning and thriving, and that during this teacher's rant, which went on and on, the mom started recording because she didn't think anyone would believe her without proof.
I don't know where to begin with this one. This one pushed a whole lot of buttons. As a parent, as a former educator, as a former administrator, this pushed a whole lot of buttons for me. And I think the biggest frustration that I have is that people think that we are post-racial, right? That was something I kept hearing, post-racial America, as if racism just kind of had a stopping point in America and didn't exist anymore. What this video shows me is that bias toward people because of race and so many other things is alive and well in the classroom. And let me just say this, not try to play it politically correct. The internal bias of teachers has not gone anywhere. And it's not just teachers. I don't want to seem like I'm beating up on teachers. People have biases, and most people have not dealt with their stuff. Most people don't really want to do or know how to do the introspective work it would take to be clear on exactly what they're biased about and how to overcome those biases to live in a society where you can treat people who are different than you like you would like to be treated, like they're people. So, this has been happening since the first group of black students walked into a classroom where the teacher was white. And it will continue to happen as long as nothing is done about it, as long as it's not dealt with. You're not going to resolve this problem with diversity training and professional development, because you can't teach a person to see people as people. And that's the bottom line. If this child's name was Susie and she had blonde hair and blue eyes and a very innocent way about her, and she was doing just fine before the pandemic, and when the pandemic hit and the students were no longer allowed to go to classrooms, she started having trouble with her assignments, then I guarantee you there would be more empathy and compassion given. It's just, and it's not just white teachers. As black people, we tend to be harder on black students as well. We need to be honest with ourselves if we're going to really make things better. What these stories thus far show me is the importance of accepting the fact that you cannot change hearts. You cannot change people's heart, period. No one, only the person who is the holder of the heart can change their heart. And so wherever you ignore bias, wherever you ignore things like this when they happen, whenever you explain them away and say, well, this is just because people are stressed out because they're having to work from home, this issue is going to occur. Here's the bottom line. Teachers have been complaining about how hard it is to teach online and learn online. If the teachers are having difficulty, how do you expect the students not to be having challenges? I have talked to so many families that are struggling to figure this thing out, and they want classroom education back so badly. My concern is this. This same teacher would have had the same attitude about the students in her classroom, but the parents would not have known because they would not have seen it. And if you think for a second that sending her to training so that she can get her job back is gonna somehow help her to release all that bias, you've got another thing coming. That's just not how it works. All right. So here's the thing. In the extended version of the video, this teacher mentions what she's going through. This is what I have to deal with. Because again, she wants sympathy and compassion, empathy if she can get it, because she's having a hard time dealing with teaching online. But she doesn't want to give those same things to the student who cannot be more comfortable than she is, because she sets the tone. See, that's the thing about it. If she needs that empathy and compassion, if she's frustrated, that's how that student is feeling, because she's the leader in the classroom and she's feeling that way. Teachers cannot teach what they don't understand. So if a teacher is confused about a certain math problem, guess what? That teacher's not going to teach kids how to do that math problem well. They're going to teach them how to do it to the best of the teacher's ability, because that's what they have to give. Here's the thing. She accused this family and black people of making excuses, never taking responsibility for their actions. But here's my thing. Here she is making excuses, not taking responsibility for her actions as an educator, because if her students are struggling with online learning and she's the teacher, that means that on some level she is unwilling or unable to help them. And so I'm not saying that she should be castigated for it. The answer would be to get her some help so that she can be a better online educator for the purposes of continuing online education while we have to. But instead, we have these outcries to put the children back in the classroom. All that does is hide it away. And if you ignore stuff like this, it's going to flourish. And by stuff like this, I mean bias. I mean racist tendencies in the classroom and whatever else. Because don't think for a second that her attitude didn't play into the grades that she issued. They most definitely did. And last but not least, the thing that impacted me the most about this call was the child crying. This brings me to an important point, and that is, I know we are tired. A lot of us, those of us who have been at home or working with their students while they do online programs, I know we are tired. I know people are tired. But this is what I will say. Online learning is not the problem, and the pandemic is not the problem. These issues existed in classrooms across America every day for at least as long as I have been around. And they're not going to go away if we put them out of sight and start dropping our kids off at schools again. They're just not.